Hey there. If you don't know what you're feeling, then it doesn't mean you're numb. It usually means that there's actually too much going on inside at once and you've actually lost resolution. This video is for everyone, but men are especially vulnerable to this, I think. And when it catches up, it doesn't just whisper, it blows up. Not because men are broken, but because this blind spot can run quietly for years. Here's what this inner world often feels like. You're functioning, you're working, you're doing what needs to be done, but inside there's pressure, there's irritation, there's a low level buzz that you can't quite switch off. And you certainly don't say, I feel sad, or I feel ashamed, or I feel scared. You say, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I just need a break. And sometimes I just want to burn it all down. That thought scares people so much they push it away. And that's when the trouble starts. Let me be clear on what I'm talking about and what I'm not. This is not primal scream therapy, right? This is not letting it all out. It's not acting in rage or blowing up your life. If you feel like you want to torch everything, that's a signal, not an instruction. Signals are meant to be read, not obeyed. And when signals aren't read, they don't disappear. They accumulate. This happens to everyone. But men are more vulnerable for a simple reason. Most men were trained to minimize their inner experience. Calm, factual, be fine, be useful, don't complain, keep moving. And that creates competence, but it also creates a blindness. And blindness works until it demands vision. Here's a loop that most people are stuck in, right? You feel something, irritation, fear, or disappointment, but you've learned that feeling is bad, it's weak, or it's dangerous. So you judge yourself. Now there's shame, then anxiety, then distraction, then numbness. And later you say, I don't know what I'm feeling. And that's not a mystery. That's compression. The real driver here isn't the emotion. It's the belief underneath it. David Burns calls these self-defeating beliefs. Rules that you didn't choose to live by. Examples could be like, if I disappoint people, I'm failing. Good men don't feel angry or needy. If I lose approval, I'll lose worth. If I'm not respected, I'm nothing. And these beliefs run quietly in the background. And emotions are the smoke, not the fire. So you don't suffer because you feel too much. You suffer because what you believe feelings means. I'll give you a real example of my own life, right? During a rough period, I got into my head that my kids might think less of me and they might be ashamed of me, that I needed to prove that I was a good dad. So I became more stoic, more controlled, more reserved, more distant, which was ironic because what they needed wasn't a friend, they needed a dad. And my need for their approval quietly pushed me away from them. When that belief is running, any disagreement feels dangerous. A tired comment, snide remark, not cruelty, just a kid wanting space, and yet you snap back, they snap back, and suddenly you're off to the race. And what's strange is that you actually train the very reaction that you fear. You're not teaching respect, you're teaching this is unsafe. This pattern shows up everywhere. You're stressed about a big project, but instead of thinking specifically about the project at a specific time, you're not present at dinner. And someone says something small, you blow up. Now you're ruminating about the argument instead of solving the real problem. Or, hit Friday night drinks really hard to let it all go. Saturday, you flap. Sunday, you recover. Monday, it starts all over again. That's not lack of discipline. That's emotions piling up without a way out. When people say things just built up, they're not being vague. They're being accurate. And that's because that you only have so much capacity to suppress or distract or compartmentalize. Eventually the system becomes really noisy, contradictory, dysfunctional even. Imagine this. Think of your inner world like a workplace. At first it's functional, then departments stop talking, then there's blame, and then there's backstabbing, and then nothing gets done. When your inner workplace breaks down, you stop operating as a coherent whole. So when people say, I don't know what I'm feeling, what they actually really mean is that I don't know how to see what's happening inside of me. Emotions aren't a switch. They're more of a landscape. You're not empty, you're overloaded. And you can't navigate a landscape that you refuse to look at. This is why I like David Burns's brief mood log. It's not therapy. It's not journaling. It's a brief mood survey designed to be done in minutes. It asks you to rate clusters of emotions like sadness, anxiety, anger, guilt, shame, hopelessness, loneliness, each one from 0 to 100. And if you have one, then how satisfied are you with your relationship? In a few minutes, the blur gets shape. And what always got me wasn't like the number. It was realizing that what I'd been calling one emotion was actually many emotions stacked together. For example, like Anxiety turned out to be fear, shame, sadness, bit of anger, all unnamed. When people say it just built up, this is what they mean. It's not one thing getting worse, it's many things never being seen. And what you'll find is behind each of these emotions, there's a thought. Anger, this isn't fair. Fear, something bad might happen. Shame, I'm failing. Sadness, I've lost something. You feel the way you think, even if the thought is quiet, it's fast, or automatic. And that's not philosophy, that's mechanics. When you don't see this, then you fight yourself instead of the problem. And the longer that you avoid it, the louder it comes back. Avoidance doesn't prevent pain, it delays it, and with interest. And I think that's why blow-ups feel sudden, but they aren't. Look, if you're younger and you're watching this, then here's what I'd wish I'd have known. Emotional literacy is like financial literacy. You don't learn it because life is broken. You learn it so life doesn't break you. Earlier is cheaper. So this isn't about letting feelings run your life. On the contrary, it's about stopping them from actually running them from the shadows. I'm here to say that the monster doesn't have teeth. The suffering was the build-up and the beliefs. Once you see the landscape, you finally have something to navigate. Chris out.